welcome to the MCTC Anime Club. I am Crimson Lord.
Hey guys, Shunjum 24/7 here.
And today we'll be reviewing an anime series, the first of the semester, Wolf's Rain.
So what are your initial thoughts?
Honestly, I am a big fan of wolves. So honestly, this is the first time I've seen the anime, but honestly, it seems pretty good. There's a lot of drama and suspense, plus a few good shots of wolves.
Well, basically my initial thoughts are it's an okay anime. We only watched like the first 6 episodes. It's a pretty good stopping point, but it's pretty good from what I've seen. Basically from the anyways. And
the story, I guess this is one of those animes where it's in the far off future. There's mostly machinery, chemicals, and almost all nature has been obstructed, and whatever's left is just covering up old machines and metal. And supposedly, you would think most animals would be died out, and supposedly the wolves were extinct. That is, until a wild white wolf shows up into the city one day.
Was it? I think they said they've been extinct for 200 years.
And that's a pretty long time.
So in this, yeah.
Yeah. In this day and age, even if people would see a wolf, they would just think it's a big dog. Because it has been 200 years. This would be the generation that grew up without knowing what wolves looked like. So it's understanding they would mistake them for just really big dogs. There's only a few who know that wolves actually existed. But yeah, as for the wolf's tale and all this, no pun intended. The main one's goal is to find a paradise where wolves can live in nature free and happy without the obstruction of machine and man, by following the scent of what's known as a lunar flower, a pure white flower that blooms only under a full moon. So, yeah, and as far as we've seen through the story, it looks like there's a bit of ties to some pagan lore and legends that tie themselves to wolves in this aforementioned paradise. Now then, as for characters, we'll start with the wolves first. There's first our big white wolf, Kiba. Honestly, it seems like he's the type of wolf who would be tied to the old ways. That's the sort of vibe I'm getting off of him, whereas most of the others we've seen have either adapted to disguising themselves as humans or are just giving up on life.
Then next would be Sume.
That guy's got a real anger issue. Or maybe he's just the tough but caring sort of person. But considering what kind of anime was this, it'd be weird if there wasn't a character like that in a group.
True. And next is Hige.
I think I see him more as the comic relief sort of wolf. But he's certainly got the biggest appetite among the group. And the easily distracted. But
I can kind of see him as the somewhat comic relief.
Yeah, although he seems to have the best scent out of all of them. Yeah, it seems that he's able to pick up scents from long distances. So I guess that he would be the tracker of the group. And then I guess the last one is the youngest of them, Taboe. I guess he's still young. He's been living a pretty sheltered life, and now he's just thrown into the wilds of city life and then out into the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess he probably sees Sume as a sort of older brother to look after him, even though he tries to keep him at a distance.
Yeah, I can see that.
They may be different, but I guess that what makes them a group. They make up for what some of them don't have. Now for the humans, Cher Desiree, is that what it says?
Yep.
I don't know. What did you think, Shonen? Well, either way, she's the female scientist of the anime, right?
Mm-hmm.
It looked like she was studying up on pagan lore, and she was in charge of some experiment for the longest time. And it seems even though she is a scientist, she's one of the few who actually understands there may be other things to explain it other than just simple math and formulas. And honestly, that's not bad in this world. Sometimes you have to delve into the unnatural to understand some things.
Mm-hmm. Then the next one is Hub Lebowski.
Hub Lebowski, huh? I think last I checked, he was the detective, right?
Yep.
He seems like a pretty ordinary person. The only relation he has to Cher is that he's her ex-husband, or just Detective Hub. And I don't think there's much to tell about him. Just a normal detective, and then all of a sudden something weird happens, and now he just wants to find the truth. Because everything around him is starting to change because of that incident. And he just wants to find out what.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I guess, explains why he's a detective. But honestly, he seems like the kind of guy who would get way too intense over stupid reasons.
And then next is Quent Yaiden, the hunter.
Oh yeah, I feel like there's something more to his story, but it seems like he's really got it out for wolves. Even though the dog he travels with almost looks like a wolf.
True.
So there might be something behind that. But I have a feeling somewhere later in the series they go more in depth about why he's on this quest for revenge against the wolves, but it might have something to do with something that happened to his family, because we got a brief glimpse of a picture of it during one of the episodes. I guess he had a wife and a daughter, and now he's just become a revenge-obsessed alcoholic. So you gotta wonder what could have happened to make a man fall that far.
Yeah.
And then there was
the next character would be Cheza, but not all that much to talk about, since we only got like glimpses of her and stuff.
Yeah, and then she was taken away. I think she was referred to as a flower maiden, but she didn't seem all that human either. But it looked like she had some kind of connection to the wolves. And whenever they were acting up, it seemed she would react in some way. But now she's taken away, and now I guess they're trying to find her. The wolves, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Because they believe she is the key to finding their paradise.
And the last one would be Lord Darcia III.
He would be, I would guess, one of the main villains in this story. He is also a noble, which is apparently a bad thing in this series, but then again, can you name one anime where nobles aren't the bad guys?
No. Not on the top of my head, at least.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some animes where nobles are good guys, they try to do good things, but most of the other animes I've seen, all nobles are rotten to the core. Or, I mean, no offense to most nobles in animes, but if I had to name 3 animes where they were totally rotten, I would say Akame ga Kill, Code Geass. Well, for some of the nobles in that one, the majority. And then the last one would be, I would think, Black Clover. Because there are some nobles.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, yep.
Yeah. I don't know, I guess they just like painting nobles as bad guys in some animes. But as for this guy, there's not much to talk about, but it looks like he's more in tune with the legend than anyone else. He knew what the Flower Maiden Chizo's worth was, and using some weird magic, he knocked everybody out, took her away, and apparently he's able to tell that who the wolves are among the humans, mainly because he is one himself. But he's probably in a whole other class than Kiba and the others. Not sure if it's the fact that he's a noble, or maybe he's just older than them, who knows. Now, how to describe the artwork in the anime? I'll be kind of honest, they kind of captured the real rustic look of how the towns and cities look, but that's how it should be. Everything's all rust, polluted, you can't even see the night sky anymore unless you're in pretty less polluted places. The music wasn't all that bad either. There was a bit of modern music, but then there were some instances where there was pagan music, because I could hear pan flute sometimes.
The one thing I thought was interesting about the music is that sometimes when you're listening to it, it'll sound like random wolf howling.
Right. Something negative, I guess. Well, if I wanted to say something negative, I would say how they didn't try to explain much of the background of all the main characters in the first few episodes, but that'd probably be my only thing.
As for me, don't have really anything negative about it. The only thing that I would say was negative is that I've seen the first 3 episodes like I don't know how many times in Anime Club here, but other than that, this is a pretty good anime.
Final thoughts? I would say this anime is not all that bad for a wolf-based one. And considering I'm a pro-wolf person myself, I'm hoping that the reality in that anime doesn't come to pass in our time.
Yeah. And like I said, it's a good anime, and yeah. What would you give it?
Well, I do wish they would have explained more about some of the characters that would have had a strong tie to the story, but honestly, I'm still giving it a 5 out of 5.
And I think my score would be 4 out of 5.
Okay, so 9 out of 5. That's a solid A- grade. Okay, I would say that's all for today's review. Join us next week when we'll be watching When Marnie Was There. Till then, this is the MCTC Anime Club signing off.